And now,
Hello, my name is JJ. If you came here today looking for religion, or if you came here today expecting me to read scriptures, you came to the wrong video. Please go over to JJ Reading Scriptures or BROREADING. Oh, sorry. Let me spell that again. BROGUE, V as in Valley, ARRAREADING. But speaking of religion and scriptures, when I went to Catholic school, I amassed a ton of nun jokes. So here's some nun jokes for you. So four nuns are in line at a confessional waiting to confess their sins. The priest walks by and looks at the line of the four nuns, goes into the confessional, and he says, first one can come in. The first nun goes in and says, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." The priest says, "What is your sin, sister?" She says, "I looked at a man's penis." So the priest said, "For your punishment, you have to go to the holy water and rinse out your eyes with holy water." So she goes out of the confessional, walks by the other three nuns, goes over to the holy water and dips her face in it, and then it shakes her eyes out. The second nun goes in and says, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." The priest says, "What is your sin, sister?" And the nun says, "I held a man's penis in my hand." So the priest says, "For your penance, you have to go out to the holy water and wash your hands with the holy water." So she walks by the other two nuns, dips her hands in it, and then dries off her hands. So then the fourth nun, the one who's last in line, elbows the third nun and pushes her down to the ground and goes into the confessional. The priest says, "Sister, you're not allowed to cut in line. I saw the order and I saw that you were last. You're not allowed to push the other nun out of the way. Why did you do that?" And she says, "Well, Father, do you think I'm going to gargle that holy water after she puts her asshole in it?" All right.
nice.
So, okay, so a man. So there's this peeping Tom pervert who observes the nuns every day in a field picking mushrooms at the same time every day, 11 o'clock in the morning. They go out to this field and pick mushrooms every day. And they're always these short little nuns, really small girls, 4'11", and they sing their mushroom tra-la-la song as they're picking the mushrooms. So as you should know from experience, your male genitalia looks like a mushroom, as long as you pull back the skin or if you're circumcised. So he gets a shovel really early in the morning, digs a ditch, gets down into the ditch, and puts the dirt back on himself, but sticks his penis up out of the dirt. So that's right in the middle of a patch of mushrooms. So the first little nun comes running along, singing her one mushroom tra-la-la, two mushroom tra-la-la, three mushroom tra-la-la song. So she goes one mushroom, two mushroom, three mushroom, starts yanking on his penis. She's like, four, 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 and then she moves on, four mushroom tra-la-la. So he's starting to get an erection underneath the ground. He's getting really happy under the ground. The next nun comes running by singing the same one mushroom tra-la-la song, pulling the mushrooms, one mushroom tra-la-la, two mushroom tra-la-la, three, and she can't pull the third mushroom out of the ground, so she goes on to the fourth one. All right, so the next one is this big Mother Superior, big like our neighbor Nia Jax, who I hope is out there watching this video. So this big Mother Superior comes pulling the mushrooms up, and he wasn't expecting this because she's never there. And it's too late for him to do anything about it because he's down in the ground and the dirt's all over him and he can't even move his arms or legs. So she comes by, one mushroom tra-la-la, two mushroom tra-la-la, three mushroom tra-la-la, four mushroom tra-la-la. I love that joke ever since I was in 7th grade.
Just rips it off.
Yeah. Like that. All right. Two women are up in heaven and they're discussing how they died. The one woman says, "I died because I froze to death." The second woman says, "I died because I had a heart attack." Well, the first woman says, "But you're so young. How could you possibly have suffered a heart attack?" So the second woman says, "Well, I was convinced that my husband was cheating on me with another woman. So I came home from work early one day to try to catch him doing it. And I came home and he was sitting there in the den watching TV by himself. And so I was like, I'm looking around. There's got to be a woman here." So I went down into the basement and I ran all over looking under everything. And I was getting really tired. Then I went up into the attic and I went crawling around looking underneath everything, and I was getting really, really exhausted and I couldn't find anybody. Then I went into the backyard and I started looking under trash cans and everything and started like digging holes in the grass trying to look for this other woman. And I was so physically exhausted that I just collapsed and had a heart attack. When the first woman says, "It's too bad you didn't look in your freezer." because we would both still be alive now. And that is not from Playboy. That's from life experience. So, I will be coming out with another Playboy dirty joke video very soon. As soon as I get some more, as soon as I get them all written down. And always stay smooth as a dolphin and dry your ankles.
You know Johnny Deep faster?
What, Johnny Deep faster?
Yeah, you know Johnny Deep faster?
Johnny Deeper faster?
That's
It
really
sounds
different.
like it's easy to figure out.
I don't know. We should share that one on YouTube.
Is that like I was down by the creek blowing bubbles? Is that...
What's that one?
All right. So basically, this teacher in an elementary school teacher, well, probably not elementary school. This high school teacher has all these students showing up late for class. She's getting really mad, and the first student walks in and says, "Excuse me, why were you late?" The first girl walks in and says, "Excuse me, why were you late?" And the girl says, "I was down by the river blowing bubbles." She said, "Well, then that's going to cost you detention." The second girl walks in late and says, "Why were you tardy for class?" She says, "I was down by the river blowing bubbles." And she says, "Well, that's going to cost you a suspension." So the next guy that walks in is this big, fat black dude who's playing tennis right across the street from us right now. Big, fat black dude walks into the class, and she's never seen him before. And says, "Excuse me, sir, were you down by the river too? And is that why you're late?" And says, "No, I'm Bubbles."
The reason why they were late. Oh my goodness, this is wrong.
Alright. Okay. We're going to move on to some fine literature, so hope you enjoyed the video.
We're gonna start a video for that.
Yeah, I know. And then check out our next video, which is going to be called 1984, the novel by George Orwell, pages 37 through 48.
What chapter?
Roman numeral 4.
Oh, we didn't say we switched chapters. I thought we were still on chapter 2.
We did a 3.
I think we need to mark it. Hold on. Let me switch chapters. Or videos. Don't you have anything to say to the Phoenix Gallery? To be quiet over reading the scriptures, being a good girl?
You know, while we're reading this trash, you know.
Okay, hold on. Let me start the video. Any last says?
What the heck was the other thing that we say besides dry your ankles? It'll come to me.
Not the point of the point in the remember what's the T show?
The T show?
Dolphins.
That was from the Mick.
Yeah.
No, the other one. The one the 90s.
The Dream of the 90s is
Yeah.
alive in Portland.
Yeah.
Tattoo ink never runs dry. You should see how much spit is in Doug's mouth right now.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to say signing off? This is Sunny.
This is JJ, and the Dream of the 90s is alive in Portland.
Signing off.